Welcome to episode 61 of the OVW podcast, the unofficial podcast of Ohio Valley Wrestling. I am Brian Hines.
And I am Brian Woodard. It's a true meeting of the Bryans today.
The Council of Bryans is in session.
Yes, Jackman is not feeling well today.
Yeah,
so
he is under the weather.
Yes, I'm pinch hitting once again up here, graduated up to the couch, which I'm always happy to do. P.S. Woodard is back there, but he's not connected to a microphone, so I don't guess we'll hear from him tonight.
And he wouldn't say anything anyway, so I'm sure we won't.
No. All right, well, let's see. I guess we're going to get into all the action today from OVWTV 1308.
Yep.
Which was last
Thursday,
September 5th.
At historic Davis Arena.
Historic Hot Point Davis Arena.
Yes, that's
Gotta
right.
Get used to saying that.
It's weird that we call it Hot Point Arena now because Hot Point cooled it down.
Yeah, I love that particular little bit of irony is that, in order to get cool, they had to switch to Hot Point.
Yeah.
But they did a pretty good job. That is a much cooler place.
Yes, they sure did. You can see the 3 AC units right out front above the door.
Yeah.
And it's significantly more comfortable. So we just want to say thank you, Hot Point, for cooling us off.
Have we talked about the big new sign at Davis Arena on this broadcast?
I don't think so.
So maybe we should take a moment to do that, because it does now say Hot Point Davis Arena.
Yep.
They didn't take down the old sign.
No.
For those of you who are worried about it. But there is now a bigger sign above it that says Hot Point Davis Arena.
And there's a neon sign on the inside that says Hot Point as well.
I'm counting down to when somebody is like pile drove or some sort of somebody's going to break that sign, and I'm just sort of waiting around for
Somebody's going to break that sign, and then people are going to be pissed.
Well, yeah, I mean,
and rightly so, because you shouldn't play ball in the house. I mean, I guess you're asking a lot from people who wrestle for a living, but still, you got to be mindful.
Yeah, last time I checked, there's not a Spanish announce table that's safe in wrestling. So
that's true.
Things get broken when professional wrestling is
happening. They put that sign right where the pool cue went flying into the crowd in that barroom
brawl match. What a match!
Yeah, that was something. It's still right over there in the corner.
That's right. It's our own sign that we point at.
Yeah,
I guess
it's right next to the Viva la Revolution sign.
Yeah.
So I guess that's, pretty much the theme of this episode. You say you want a revolution, you got it.
Yeah. So let's do a little tour update, and then we will get into what actually happened, shall we?
All right. Let's see. We've got Louisville, Kentucky, September 10th. We are releasing this
on the 10th.
On the 10th.
Day late. Sorry about that, folks. We've been dealing with illness. I mean, I'm here. We're still dealing with illness, but at least we now have a quorum.
Yeah.
So
this weekend I didn't do anything. I went out long enough to get coffee filters so I would have coffee in the morning, and that was the extent of my weekend activities.
Last weekend was a hectic weekend, and then we had done the Thursday back to homecoming before that. So, I kind of had to turn it off too. And got a little ill, but we're all feeling much better. I even hear Jackman is actually feeling somewhat better at this hour.
Oh, good.
But he'll be back with us hopefully Wednesday. But anyway, let's tomorrow or today if you're listening to this the day we release it, it is Night of the Luchadors tonight,
and that is at Louisville City FC. And
I really kind of want to go, but we're already going Thursday, and, there's a lot going on.
There is a lot going on, and for the record, I will say that this past weekend was the first weekend where I didn't have to be someplace or was rushing to meet somebody. It was nice.
It sounds nice.
I slept a lot, and I laid around when I wasn't sleeping, and I watched a ton of disappointing football.
Yeah.
But, I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah, I hear that the Bengals loss kind of upset. There's the survivor leagues that they do in football, and apparently everybody voted for the Bengals to win this first week, and the Bungles pulled it out in true Bungle fashion.
Yeah, we won't talk about that.
Well, maybe when we talk about Dalton McKenzie in a minute.
Well, yeah, there was a Bengals country joke when he had his tag team match.
He sure did. So, yeah.
We'll get back to it.
Night of the Luchadors.
Night of the Luchadors, Georgetown, Kentucky, September 13th. That's this Friday at the Country Boy Brewing Tap Room. We've got Longport, Indiana on October 4th. That is a free outdoor show. We've got Riot Fest in Chicago on September 22nd. I skipped over that one. And
I cannot wait to hear what comes of that. The Riot Fest. That seems like a great kind of pairing.
That's going to be really exciting for them. And that's a pretty big festival. And working with the NWA, I'm sure is going to be nothing but good news for OVW and vice versa.
Yeah, it seems like that they're like two great tastes that taste great together when it comes to professional wrestling.
Yeah.
The OVW and the NWA, and I'll take any moment to make a candy reference.
Yep, that is accurate. He sure will. And finally, we've got Rock and Wrestling at Mom's Music in Louisville on October 5th. And you can get tickets to all the events at OVWTix.com.
Yes, we encourage you to go and do that. Come see. We're there every Thursday. Of course, once again, we are doing weekly Davis Arena.
Yes, that's correct.
So we're there most every Thursday. Come see us. Bless you, even though you somehow managed to keep that silent.
It's one of my superpowers.
That's really creepy. But yeah, come see us. Get your Davis Arena, Night of the Luchadors. Did we mention the Rock and Wrestling show?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Rock and Wrestling, Mom's Music in Louisville on October the 5th.
We're definitely going to go to that one.
That one sounds great.
I need to know what's going on with that. All right, so we'll get to this week's Rise, I guess, right after this, from me.
Oh, do you want me to say it? So
yeah, why don't we?
Weird?
Yeah.
Okay. We will get back to all the action from Davis Arena this past Thursday right after this.
Hey, folks, first I just want to let Brian Hines know that his computer's unplugged from power, so we may want to rectify that situation.
Whoops.
While I'm talking. We do have some interviews done. We got some other stuff planned. I had an interview planned for this Friday, but realized I'm going to have to cancel it for two reasons. One, we're going to the Manchester show. We're going to the Georgetown show.
Oh, yeah.
And two, my co-host for Bluegrass Homefront, one, Victor Anderson, is out of town. He is, in fact, in the windy city of Chicago, and I'm not at all jealous.
I am jealous. I have been to Chicago, but I was only there for an instant. I was sprinting through O'Hare Airport trying to catch my connecting flight.
I went through there. My brother, who was for years a truck driver, operated out of Aurora, Illinois, which, of course, you'll recognize as
the home of Wayne's World.
Yes,
yeah. And
this was like 1996 when I went there, so I thought it was a really big deal for a really, really kind of nothing suburb. Could be a suburb anywhere, but, I was in Aurora. Excellent.
Did they have the diner with the giant hockey player on top?
It's certainly possible. I spent most of my time in a semi tractor trailer, so I never saw it. The point is, Homefront's coming. We're going to get there, folks. We may lament some football soon. You thought the NFL was bad. You should have tried Kentucky football this weekend.
I tried, but
the bottom fell out.
I heard, but for whatever reason, I couldn't get that ABC channel.
36. That's what it is here in town.
Well, I'm still on Ohio rules, so.
Oh yeah. Well, you could just get that with an antenna, though.
Well, I don't have an antenna. I need to get an antenna so I can watch the Cats lose.
Hopefully, not too much more, please.
No, I'm not going to say that because I know how UK folks are. That's one of my primary rules is you don't talk about politics, religion, or UK sports.
That's around here. That's probably a good rule of thumb.
Yeah.
BluegrassHomefront.com, Bluegrass Homefront, wherever you get your podcasts, Bluegrass Homefront on all your social media platforms. Sometime soon. We miss you. We'll see you soon. Now back to the OVW podcast already in progress.
What's up, guys? This is Brian Hines.
And this is Tiny Brian. We are having a meeting of the Bryans.
Yes, the Council of Bryans is in session, and we are here to discuss OVW episode 1308. And this episode starts off with an official announcement.
Well, let's even jump back and talk about the theme. Because
Oh,
it starts out with there's nothing better than OVW and click, click, and cuts out certified in the new version. But it does quickly revert to the Revolution theme.
yes,
And
it does.
then we get, so we get the new Revolution theme, which, did you notice, because you and I are old enough to know the NWO.
Oh, yeah.
And when the NWO would be coming in, it's meh, 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 and someone would go, in new world order.
Yeah, I noticed that.
And now we have revolution. I'm like, okay. But, so that was funny. But we do start with an official announcement. What is this tool's name?
David Vox Mullen.
The COO of the OVW Board of Operations.
Wow, that is a big official title.
That's a lot of words. There were
Yeah.
definitely words in that sentence.
There were a lot of words in that sentence.
And he has
his announcement was pretty much what we had figured it was going to be. Al is out of commission. He's been incapacitated until further notice, which means that they had to pick somebody else to run OVW. And he announces that Doug Basham is acting director of operations.
a title I have never heard before, but I assume is what Al's actual title is.
I suppose.
I mean, I kind of expected him to use commissioner or words to that effect, but you never really hear him called anything, just boss.
Yeah, and I've never heard the term director of operations used to describe somebody's role in a wrestling promotion.
And I'm a sci-fi guy, you know that.
Yeah.
The audience should be no surprise to you guys, and I'm a big nerd. So I love me some technobabble when it's all of this these official terminologies, and that we have to reconfigure the plasma intake manifold so the warp core can sink into an electrostatic state and whatever.
Have you checked the dilithium crystals?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mr. Vox Mullen here does some passable technobabble when he's, according to paragraph 63, line 24, verse 16 or whatever.
I noticed that too. Yeah.
And then he places exactly who we expected him to place in charge. Strangely, my name did not come up. I would have liked to have seen you get the job, but no.
I wouldn't take any job of anybody who would have me.
That's weird considering you work here, but
Well, there's an exception to every rule.
That is true. So, yeah, David Vox Mullen, and surprise absolutely no one, places Doug Basham in charge.
Yeah.
His terrible little office. Like, could he have a couple more screens in the background? I think that would have made it a little better.
That would have been more officialer.
Yeah, he just doesn't have enough screens to really feel like he's conveying, I own this thing.
Well, I mean, the last time we had an official announcement on OVW, it was like that scene from UHF where the guy was just kind of reading it blankly off a card.
Very much. This is not that same guy, right?
This
is
is not
official.
No, this is he's more official than the first guy is.
Yeah, this whole board of operations, I've tried very hard to penetrate it, find out who's on it. I don't know a thing about it.
It's a top secret society.
It is a top secret kind of environment, and but this David Vox Mullen, he has done the thing. So then we get the Revolution. They all come out. They're all very happy.
They all do,
and
they're all there.
They're all there, and they make sure we all see them all. And then, I mean, there's a little preening, and then Doug calls out the rest of the locker room.
I have a feeling that there's going to be a lot of referring to yourself in third person moving forward.
Really? Me personally?
No, just in general.
Doug feels like he's going to start talking about Doug.
On the program. Yeah, and B. Hines is going to start talking about B. Hines by referring to himself as B. Hines.
All right, well, Tiny Brian is fine with that. So, yeah, they all climb in the ring, and in real time, I went and found the GIF of the end of the X-Men cartoon. when Charles and Cyclops and Wolverine all run towards Magneto and Toad and whoever else,
Yeah.
and they kind of collide, because that's the energy this opening segment really kind of gives me.
It definitely does.
The Super Friends do it too.
Oh, yeah.
It's that sort of an idea, and Cal Hero's mad.
Yeah, Cal Hero was pissed right off.
I mean, all the way. That man's from Wisconsin. I
Yeah.
was told those people were nice. Cal, apparently he's been faking being nice this whole time.
No, I feel like he's definitely been nice because I feel like that's who he is. But, I mean, to quote Alice Cooper, no more Mr. Nice Guy for Cal Hero.
Apparently not.
I mean, if you're going to show up and take over the OVW in leather breeches, then, I mean, gloves are off, dude.
Leather breeches, leather coat, leather, all of it. Oh, and can we talk about the fact that Crixus Knotted got the start of this with his
I noticed
cricket
that
bat?
too. So, yeah, he's been anointed, as it were, by the World Heavyweight
Ooh,
Champ.
we should dump some oil on him. That way we could properly anoint him.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
So anyway, yeah, everybody's mad. Cal comes out first, and he's mad.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Cal surrounded by the rest of the locker room.
Yeah, and then Will Austin spoke up, and he's mad.
Yeah.
And they're both mad at Tony Gunn and
Jamie
Lavencia, respectively.
Yeah, and rightly so.
Yeah, and in his first official act, our very own Leather Daddy, Doug Basham, makes the match a tag team between these two Revolution champions and the two champions of the OVW locker room. And we'll see that match later on. Then we see...
Yeah, we will.
Then J-Rod just sort of talks to various members of the women's locker room, and Crystal White is nicest to her.
I was surprised at how that exchange went because, Haley had words for her, Tiffany had words for her, Freya had words for J-Rod.
My favorite thing was Freya was like, I know you're not going to pick me tonight, but when you're ready for a real challenge, I'm over here.
Yeah. Yeah,
You gotta love that energy from Freya.
Yeah, well done.
Absolutely. But yeah, and then I mean, I love Crystal White. She is the original diva.
Sure.
She's a great presence around OVW. But if I was in J Rod's position and I wanted to make sure I wasn't going to lose my women's championship the first time I defended it, I might choose to take on Crystal White myself.
Yeah, I mean,
over the other options.
On one hand, I was a little surprised, but then on the other hand, logically speaking, that does make sense.
Right.
So, I mean, haven't seen a whole lot of Crystal matches, but we got to see one on Thursday.
Yep, and we will talk about it momentarily. Let's talk for a minute about Shalance Royale, shall we?
Sure.
Friend of the show.
Yeah, super awesome.
Yeah, great singer. One of my favorite women in the maybe just one of my favorite competitors in OVW, unqualified.
Oh, she told me to tell you hi, by the way. I've got a video to show you later.
Oh, good. I'm sure she's gonna. I love you, Shalance, and yes, I will. I know what I've done, and I will make it right. I happen to know you'll be there on Thursday, and so will I, and I will fix this.
Shalance, you're welcome. I'll send you a bill in the mail.
I'm sure. If you want to get like a bill from her attorney.
Yeah, PJ Jones.
Yeah.
We'll just give each other $20.
Just pass it back and forth.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
So yeah, apparently Doug put Shalance into the cage, and she brought the receipts, which I thought was great.
Oh yeah, that's very thorough on her part.
Yeah.
I'm sure that she was advised by Mr. P.J. Jones Esquire.
That's the power of P.J. Jones.
It is.
That he gets that in there. He gets it.
He gets that in there, and he gets you off.
He really does. He gets it in there, and he gets you off.
Yep.
Absolutely. Let's see. What else did Doug do? He had a long... Oh, yeah. Then the cash flow of it all here. Because cash flow looked like he was actually going to get in the ring.
Yeah.
Cal kind of looked like he wanted in the ring. Cashflow looked like he was getting in the ring.
Yeah.
And I'm not entirely sure why Doug decided to do this. Doug's actions are I don't, but he did make a title match between Cashflow and Crixus.
Oh, that was just a dick move for being a dick move.
But it was a crowd pleaser.
It wasn't until it wasn't.
Yeah. Can we talk about just how loud this crowd was?
Yeah.
It was not a sold out house.
No, it was not. I was surprised.
But it was they were as loud as I've ever heard that building.
Yeah.
Certainly in points.
Yes.
I don't know that they were, loud the whole way through as loud as I've ever heard, but they were loud a lot.
There were definitely some pops, and Cash coming out and giving the Revolution hell was definitely one of the loudest pops of the night, if not the loudest.
So the last thing Doug does, and this is one of those things that I was, again, this just, I could kind of see it coming, that now the Revolution get to use the ramp and Gorilla and all that, and OVW, the OVW locker room, now they're the ones having to come in and out the side door.
Yeah, they've got the hobo camp treatment.
But you know what I noticed? Like, when Will Austin comes out later, he seems to really enjoy just sort of jumping up on that rail and walking that rail.
I noticed that.
So, and there were several of them who I thought were eating up that railing, so I don't think maybe they're as hurt about it as some might be.
No, that's like, oh yeah, well, guess what? You're grounded and go to your room, and then you go to your room and you've got TV, and you've got Nintendo, and you've got a phone, and you've got a computer with internet access and air conditioning, and it's not really that big a punishment.
No. So,
especially if you like climbing on stuff.
One more sketch, and then we can actually get into some wrestling.
Yeah, the first quarter or the first half of the first hour was nothing but in-ring going back and forth and interactions and stuff, and kind of setting the tone for what things are going to be like moving forward, at least for the foreseeable future.
But then, before we get to the first match, we do have a video vignette with Faction Orphans, Adam Revolver, and Shannon the Dude. Who are mad that they have to park, they have to change outside, and they have a plan to get in.
Yeah, which at the time I was like, okay, I don't know what your plan could possibly be, but when they show up later, it's like, yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Well, yeah, these guys were in the evil faction, and then the evil faction just sort of left them.
Yeah.
It's like, oops.
So they're factionless.
Yeah, Joe Back had to go back to Canada. Sorry, Adam. And, you know.
And Bo Amir's gone.
Bo Amir fizzled. We don't know where he went. And the faction just sort of, until it was just really, and then EC3, who was technically still part of it, just sort of said, nope, I'm with the Revolution now.
Yeah, I'm going to do some cool stuff, and you sit over there and be a human thumb.
I kind of want Revolver and the Dude to try to keep, no, we're the faction.
Just kind of keep hope alive. Like, yeah, we're still the faction.
But who knows? They're going to try something to get in good with the Revolution, which promises to be funny, though we don't really resolve that fully this week. But I bet that's going to be something we see more of.
Yeah, I can definitely see that moving forward. But, that takes us through the first half hour of the show.
Yep. Let's get into some wrestling, shall we?
Yeah. Well, before we go any further, you can see on the screen here that Cal Hero is visibly fired up, and he's being restrained by Daniel Spencer. And I would like to say that I was disappointed that Daniel Spencer was not wearing leather pants as promised.
Daniel Spencer did promise us that he would wear leather pants. This is a huge... Yeah, you're right that we were remiss waiting this long to talk about it.
Yeah.
To our friends, he's the host of the Ringside Podcast, the official OVW podcast. So, seems like he should follow when he makes a commitment like that. It seems like he should follow up on it.
Yeah, I was pretty tore up, man. I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty sad.
So, Daniel, we're watching for the leather pants. Bring them out.
Yeah, hopefully they come from Temu any day now.
Any day. What's the first match, Brian?
First match of the night is Jay De Niro with Tony Gunn versus Dustin Jackson.
Is it weird that when Jay's music hit, I thought it was Unta Peso?
I think that was by design.
Yeah, I mean, they're both using the mixes of the Godfather theme, I guess that is.
Yeah, that would have been my guess. But in case you are just listening and you are not watching us on YouTube, I am wearing a Superior Right Hand shirt that I got at the Pikeville show this past Saturday. I got to talk to Jay De Niro for just a little bit, and he said that he would have new shirts coming in this past week, which he did. I didn't get a chance to get a really good look at them because they were all the way at the top of the board at the merch tables. But if you want to check them out, you should the next time you go to Davis Arena this coming Thursday, because I too would like one of those as well.
Gotta love Jay.
Yeah.
And comes out here. Tony comes with him. Gotta love. And, I was so wrong about this. And my assumptions about Tony Evans were just way off, because you usually when you get these enforcer roles in these sort of situations, the guy who has hired the enforcer is crappy to the guy who is the enforcer.
Yeah.
He usually is exploitive and yelling. And no, am I right about that?
A lot of times, yeah.
Certainly feels like it's the stereotype, if nothing else.
Yeah.
And here's Jay De Niro supporting his right hand. Support, just telling everybody to hush in a Tony Evans sort of fashion, and there is nobody. And as loud as the crowd was, Tony Evans is right there to make it even louder by trying to make them to shut up,
as he always does. He is a master of doing that, and one of my favorite parts of the weekly show at OVW.
And who took on Jay De Niro this week?
That was Dustin Jackson,
Louisville's own.
That's right.
Both men are friends of the show. Both have been in for interviews, and
yeah, we'd love to have them both back.
Absolutely. There's more to talk about, but pretty good match here.
Yeah, it was a good, solid match. It was kind of a surprising choice because there was no lead up going into it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, we are here at the top of a new cycle.
True.
Right after the pay-per-view, so we're starting to build new storylines. So I kind of enjoy it.
This was one of only 2 matches that did not feature a member of the Revolution.
That is true. There were
very few matches this week.
So when I compare this, because I can't help but compare this in my head to the NWO takeover of WCW Nitro back in the day. And one thing I can say about this that compares favorably is when the NWO took over, there was no such thing as a non-disrupted finish. Like every match, if WCW people were wrestling, they would come out and beat them down, and just for fun, just because. And at least Doug has there's only one disrupted match, and that's the final.
Yeah.
Really, in this whole sequence. So that bodes well in my head. That's the thing I was most concerned about with the Revolution's new upgraded presence, was that we weren't going to actually get to see matches. It was just going to be snaz and snaz and snaz. And that they didn't do that, at least mostly this week.
Yeah, for the most part, no, they didn't.
And what do you think about these two working together?
I mean, it was a great match. Dustin was flying around the ring. He's definitely a high flyer. He's got the speed, and Jay De Niro is just the power. He's slower, methodical. It was a good match of contrasts between the two,
and they do play well together. Sometimes you get this methodical big man versus this high flyer, and it just feels weird, but they work together like butter as far as I can see.
Yeah, definitely.
And
with the help of Superior Tony as well.
Yeah, who tried to help, and as usual, these two do not. They have some trouble really kind of cinching this in their favor.
Yeah, they've had some communication problems in the past, and I was hoping that this week they would have had everything straightened out and that turned out to not be the case so
Was
much.
not to be, as Dustin Jackson gets the win here.
Yeah.
After taking out Tony Evans.
Which makes me wonder, how long is this communication breakdown going to go on until somebody gets mad at somebody else?
They do have really good relations for all of this, all of the issues that they have had.
That's true, but, at some point, sooner or later, I kind of feel like somebody's going to turn on somebody. I just don't know who or when. But what do I know?
Well, you know. We'll keep our eyes on this.
We will.
To be sure. Dustin Jackson pulling out the win here once again. Then let's move on to bout 2, which is our hour 1 main event.
Yeah, just like that. We've got the Revolution establishing themselves for the first half hour of the first hour, and then we have the second match is the main event, and that is Rush Division champ Jamin Olivencia, newly crowned Rush Division champ at Fight Night, and OVW Country Boy Media champ Tony Gunn versus Will Austin and Cal Hero. It was a very good tag team match because there was no love lost among these 4 guys.
No, and it's watching Cal and Will Austin try to get on the same page. And the lack of trust and the need for trust to be built. And, I don't think anybody's quite ready to just take Will Austin's new OVW patriotism at face value.
Yeah, unfortunately, you've done enough running your mouth up to now to where people are going to look at you sideways when you say that you're with OVW, whether you mean it or not, unfortunately. But, as far as my 2 cents go, I feel like, yeah, he's right there with him.
Yeah, he seems, people in this business, when circumstances change, your approach has to change. And Will Austin, for whatever you might think of his personality or what he's shown us thus far, he definitely has a willingness to embrace the change and look for these opportunities. He seems to be a nimble kid, really.
Yeah, I'm sure he's still very much still out for himself, but with the circumstances being what they are, the enemy of my enemy is my friend, so I kind of feel like that's what's going on through the mind of Will Austin, at least, this past Thursday.
And yeah, this was a great match to watch live too.
It really was. Cal Hero, Will Austin were both fired up. Jamin Olivencia was, just as,
ferocious.
Yeah, ferocious as I thought he was going to be, as was, Tony Gunn, him going back and forth with Cal Hero. Both very, very heated based on, what's going on with their past relationship and backstory. So there was a lot on the line for this match, especially from Team OVW.
Sure. And I guess barring any surprises, we do see at least 2 of our matches coming to the next pay-per-view.
Which would be
the Tony Gunn versus Cal and Jamin versus.
Yeah.
This seems to be these are continuing in the classic kind of. Oh, well, you guys hate each other. Let's put you in a tag team.
Yeah.
And now we'll do it separately, and then finally, whenever we get to our next pay-per-view, it'll be for the belt, and then we'll see what happens.
That seems to be how things go more often than not, so I wouldn't be surprised if that were the case. But the Revolution seems to be full of surprises, so who knows, really.
Yeah, and then after this match, Doug comes back with the Revolution and just sort of taunts everybody, and
yeah,
it feels like we were just filling time.
Maybe.
Behind
seems to think that there's going to be a lot of taunting too, and referring to yourself in third person to let everybody else know that you're awesome and everybody else is crap.
Tiny Brian does remember that. Yes, that did in fact happen.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that brings us to the end of the first hour. Because Doug basically comes back and is like, "I'm the best. Go out the side door, you guys.
Look at me."
So let's get to bout number 3, which is the top of hour 2. which is a fine match. I was excited to see this when I realized what they were about to do.
I was too. I really like these two guys. They've really grown on me quite a bit.
They've grown on me like a fungus, really. Boy Toy Troy and
Star
Star
Player
Player Prime. So, I love that the gimmicks are kind of coming together.
Yeah.
They feel like, I love this entrance. Like, I love the look at the kind of roll in there and spin in there. That is so great.
Yeah, that's awesome. Their in-ring chemistry has come along quite a bit, and you love to see it, man.
Absolutely, yeah. These are, and the whole boy toy thing. I'm pretty famously was a little icked out when I first saw it, but I'm on board at this point.
No, you got it working, kid.
Yeah, he's got it. He's got it firing on all jets.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for them, they were brought face to face with the exception Dalton McKenzie and the Hunter AJZ representing the Revolution.
Yeah. They sure were, and as soon as I knew who they were going up against, I felt horrible for these two guys because, I mean, this was a pretty quick, brutal match.
Yeah, it was just sort of we're just demonstrating how dangerous this tag pairing really is.
Yeah.
And, Dalton's been kind of a threat this whole time. He's been wasn't Dalton the one that you mentioned on episode 1 of this very podcast? That you had seen him at because there's someone who's in here who you saw at the Spot Monkey show.
The very first one?
Yeah.
Was Carson Drake.
Carson Drake.
I started with him and then went on to Dalton, having known Dalton for several years now, and of all the people I've ever met in real life, not just like podcasting or wrestling or whatever, I was like, hey, man, you should think about getting into wrestling. And
I mean, he's enormous.
He always has been.
He is so big in real life. It is scary.
We'll get him in here one of these times because we've got some old work stories from back in the day that we need to share about cake and delivery trucks and such. But that's for another time.
I do love cake. So, do you think Dalton's going to be brave enough to wear Bengals gear on Thursday?
Yeah, he will because
he's a diehard fan.
He gives 0 Fs about whether or not you. He is part of the Revolution now. Yeah, and he's one of the Ohio boys too, along with a couple of the other OVW guys, Jack Vaughn and Carson Drake and Aaron Williams, who's at Spot Monkey quite a bit, and couple other folks, I believe. I saw some Cincy Boys merch at the merch booth this time. Ooh.
So let's talk about this finisher. So Dalton basically lifted, I guess at the Prime.
Yeah.
Put Prime up on his shoulder, kinda.
Yeah.
And then AJZ kind of comes up from behind and clotheslines him off.
Yeah, it was a pretty solid 2-person finisher from this tag team. Do they have an actual tag team name?
I think they just go by the Revolution.
Oh, well, yeah.
The faction went by the faction.
Yeah. Well, so there's that. But, yeah, let's take a look at it again real quick. He lifts him up on one shoulder, and then the AJZ goes into the ropes and comes out and clotheslines him across the back of the head, thus getting the win for the Revolution against Star Player Prime and Boy Toy Troy. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
It was kind of a
it was
tough
rough.
order. Yeah.
It reminds me a little bit of Dalton and Donovan and TW3, their combination moves that they like to do, but this was just more brutal.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of what tag team from back in the day it reminds me of, because somebody used to do something like that. It was the Hart Foundation.
Right, yeah, the Hart Foundation.
Yeah, Brett would hold somebody up, not on his shoulder, but in a similar fashion. Jim Neidhart would, and then Bret Hart would go into the ropes and clothesline him just like that, and they would get the win. So that's a classic strategy on behalf of the Revolution. So got a pretty easy victory this evening.
And then comes one of the oddest sketches of the night.
Yeah.
Because Cash Flow was just fuming out in the parking lot because he can't be backstage anymore.
Yeah, and rightly so.
And Super Z. Did you catch at the start he actually said, "What are you doing by the Super Fiesta?"
I didn't catch what he said, but I noticed he did say something.
Yeah, he actually,
to that effect.
he calls, apparently that's Super Z's Supermobile, his Super Fiesta.
Oh, okay. What are you doing next to my ride, dude?
Well, if I could see the Batmobile, I'd hang out by that.
Well, yeah, sure. I have seen the Batmobile. It's a sight to behold.
And, the Super Fiesta is sort of like that, I guess.
It sounds like a super party to me.
It does to me, too.
Yeah.
So Super Z bucks up our good buddy Cash Flow.
Yeah, kind of gives him a pep talk.
Yeah, you got to win it for us, man. You got to pull it out.
How long has Cash been gone? It's been a while.
Since they pulled back the mat on the ring and hit him and laid him out on the boards.
Yeah, but how long ago was that?
That was April or May.
Was it?
Because he was gone all summer.
Yeah. I just wasn't sure whether he and Super Z had a chance to meet before we saw this vignette.
I don't know if they had met. Super Z was around by that point, but I don't think that they had officially crossed paths because Cash was hanging out with Shira pretty exclusively at that point.
Well, yeah, that's true. Yeah, you make a good point.
Lion chops. No, wait, something else.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and poor Cash, the world's on his shoulders, brand new TV show. There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
Probably expected to be on Good Morning America.
Yeah.
Not having that.
Not having like a 5 a.m. call time every morning.
No, but, lot to deal with for Mr. Flo tonight.
Yep. Tulsa King comes out on September 15th, by the way.
Yeah, we're almost there.
Did you know that they're showing it on CBS on
They've
Sundays?
been showing season 1, yeah, all summer.
I didn't realize that till last night, and I missed last night's episode, so I'm going to have to play some catch-up and go back and watch
Well, it's on the
that.
Paramount Plus app.
I don't have Paramount Plus.
Shh, don't tell anyone. It's just you and me, right?
Yeah.
Malachi, cover your ears. I can probably get you some access to some Paramount.
Okay. All right, that sounds good.
I like Star Trek. I think I mentioned that.
I do too.
All right. So enough about Star Trek. Let's get into bout number 4.
This one was kind of surprising. This is where we see Shannon the Dude's master plan to get them back into Davis Arena. And once he said it, it's like, okay, I see where you're going with this. Go on. Since he is the radio champion, even though he never defends that belt.
Fake champion.
They were able to get back in and have a match. Adam Revolver did the open challenge yet again. This time it wasn't Linda Kay.
But who it was made my soul happy.
We were just talking about him the other day off mic and wondering whether he was still around. We got a chance to see Big Zoe, who has been absent for quite some time.
Neutron music.
Yeah.
Looking svelte.
He did look good. He looked really
fast.
good. And fired up.
Fired up.
Yeah. Adam Revolver made some remarks about his match with Linda Kay and the fact that he fought a woman, and that Zoe didn't take kindly to that at all.
No, Zoe took exception to it.
Yeah.
And then took it out of his ass, really.
Yeah, he sure did. And I mean, pretty well gave him the beat down.
Yeah, in typical Adam Revolver I never cheat fashion, they cheated so that Zoe didn't actually pick up the win here.
Yeah, it's weird how that happens.
Yeah, the squeaky clean Adam Revolver is always victim of his own cheating to somehow come out ahead.
Yeah, that human thumb's got a little brown on its nose.
No kidding.
Yep.
Sometimes, he should just stop dishonoring the memory of Eddie Guerrero because Eddie's the real cheater.
Yeah, and he was a lot better at it too.
He really was.
Yeah,
I mean, he had whole segments about it with music and songs.
Yeah, and this is just not that.
But he does manage to pick up the win. Human thumb that he is, Adam Revolver.
Yeah, it was good to see him get what was coming to him after not seeing it in Pikeville at Fight Night.
No.
I was really looking forward to Linda Kay handing him his pasty white ass on a silver platter.
And it's such a small ass. It wouldn't have taken a big tray.
No, it's
It's a tiny little man ass, really.
Okay.
Look, this is what happens when you put me on the couch.
Yeah.
Big Zo does not manage to pick up the win here, but I sure hope we see more of him.
Absolutely, I hope so too.
I miss when he's not around. All right, so let's get to our women's match of the night.
Yes, we had a non-title bout versus between J-Rod, the OVW Women's Champion, and Crystal White.
The original diva.
Yes, the original.
Not the extra crispy diva.
Yes, that is correct.
So, and Crystal, I normally think of her as, a valet, a groupie. She has this sort of...
An attendant of sorts.
An attendant, yes. She does have her own music, which is nice to see.
I was surprised to see that she did. I was previously unaware of that.
And my favorite thing is that she gets up on this thing, and then part of her outfit, which there's not a lot to her outfit anyway,
yeah,
but part of it was meant to be removed. That's just delightful. She took off the whole top part of her top.
It was like a quarter of a shirt.
Yeah, it could have just all been one ring gear piece as far as I knew.
Yeah.
But no. We're going to take some of it off.
We had to make sure to take that off while standing on the barricade.
Absolutely. Yeah, everybody, see, they all love this barricade.
Yeah.
They are all enamored of this barricade.
I see that.
I don't feel a lot of sympathy. They're enjoying it, I think. J-Rod look very strong in this match.
Ripped.
Yeah. The ultimate athlete. They all have these things they say about themselves, but that woman is the ultimate athlete. Is probably the truest thing that you could say about her.
Yeah, she's pretty jacked.
And looked super strong in this match against Crystal White. Although Crystal had a pretty good showing.
Yeah.
I've seen Crystal go out of a women's Nightmare Rumble in 35 seconds.
Yeah.
When paired with
Katie Gannon.
Yeah, with Katie Gannon. Mm-hmm. So, the expectation is not a long, brutal match followed by a victory for Crystal. But she did acquit herself well.
Yeah. She did a good job of handling herself. Like I said previously, we haven't seen a whole lot of in-ring action from Crystal White. And to the best of my knowledge, this is the first singles match we've seen with her since we've been doing the podcast.
There may have been one other at some point.
Maybe.
I know that Crystal and Katie had a couple of tag matches.
Right.
Like they took on the Bad Girls Club, some version of them, and lost horribly. And then they've been in the Women's Nightmare Rumble the last couple of years. But you're right. This may be Crystal's first singles match.
I'm almost positive it is, but whether it is or it isn't, it wasn't her night. And J-Rod showed us at Fight Night why she's the champion. Having that street fight with Dream Girl Ellie. Mm-hmm. So this is just a typical Thursday night for her. She gets the win, without a whole lot of difficulty. Although Crystal did hit a couple of really good moves throughout the course of it.
Mm-hmm. Like I say, she acquitted herself. She acquitted herself well. Mm-hmm. I enjoyed this match a lot.
But there was no outside interference.
No. Again, it was just a clean match.
Yeah.
With an actual finish. Mm-hmm. Which makes me very happy.
Yeah.
Like I do think while the Revolution is in charge, we're gonna keep track of how many disrupted finishes there were.
Mm-hmm.
I think we only have the one for tonight.
Which brings us to
our main event.
The main event, which was OVW Heavyweight Champion, the Scottish War Machine Crixus versus Cashflow. And this was the one that we'd been wanting to see for a while. And the last time we spoke to Cashflow on the phone, he said that he, had some unfinished business with Crixus, and this is the beginning of that. And it was great to have Cash back, like we talked about earlier. That was probably the biggest pop of the night. Mm-hmm. Was was Cash being out there, and I know the OVW fans love to have him back. It's been a long summer, and it's been a long time since we've seen Cash, and it was just good to have him back in the locker room, especially now because the OVW needs him the most.
Yeah, watch him. You can kind of watch him firing up the crowd even before things get started here.
Yeah.
And you love to watch these two fight. At one point, they get into a battle of chops, and I think to myself, I've been chopped by both of these guys.
I noticed that too. I haven't been chopped by Cash yet, but it's coming one of these days.
Oh yeah, you fell down the stairs the day we talked to Cash.
Oh God, I was in so much pain that morning. So if you go back and watch that episode, cut me a little slack because I really thought that I had a couple of broken ribs when we went to Davis Arena to talk to Cash Flow. But
you do that thing where you just sit really still for the whole hour.
That was all I could do. It was,
I know.
literally like an hour or so before we left for Davis Arena, and I was just.
And there was five of us all packed in, so you couldn't even kind of relax and stretch out on the trip.
I couldn't do that. There was none of that to be had.
No, we didn't even I don't think the rest of us realized how much pain you were in at that moment.
Well, I wasn't going to make a big deal out of it. I mean, these guys get seriously hurt all the time, and my dumb ass just happened to
fall down the stairs.
I hit the one stair that didn't have carpet on it, and there we go. That'll teach me to go downstairs for a cup of coffee before I'm fully awake.
No kidding. So great match here.
It sure was. Cash looked great. I was wondering whether or not there was going to be any ring rust, but there absolutely wasn't. Things didn't go so well for Team OVW in Pikeville, and everybody was really hoping that Cash would be the equalizer, the one to settle the score between OVW and the Revolution. And that Saturday didn't go as well as we hoped, but he got a second chance at some revenge, and he looked great. And you could tell he had Crixus on the ropes from the beginning. And we are receiving an incoming call right now that
no, I fixed it.
Well, that wasn't. We weren't getting reprimanded for not properly talking about people on OVW, were we?
I can neither confirm or deny that was Doug Basham calling to yell at us.
Okay, good. Was that the real Doug Basham?
Who can say?
It's anybody's guess, really.
Yes. So yeah, Cash pretty much got the best of our man Crixus here.
Yeah, it was
pillar to post.
It was the Cash Flow Cash show, man. That whole match.
And right up until was ready to get the pin, and then our good buddy operations manager Basham shows up and does a subtle thing to help Cash, in that he forbids Daniel Spencer to actually count the pinfall.
Yeah, telling Sans leather pants clad Daniel Spencer that if he counts to 3 and gives Cash Flow the victory, then he is fired from OVW.
Yeah.
And he will not be able to afford those leather pants that he had his eye on.
Which would just be too bad.
Yeah.
And then and that argument distracts Daniel long enough for our good buddy Crixus to land the crotch shot. I believe you call it
that's my purse, I don't know you.
Yes, that. And in that way pick up a win. Do you know the moment where it looks like Crixus got injured?
I did not, but I saw people talk about it. They said he went off the ring apron.
I mean, yeah, everybody knew immediately, except I'm apparently too dumb. I didn't really see it until people told me about it, and even when I go back and watch, I can tell he's hurt when it's over, but he is just so good at selling that I was not really aware.
Yeah, I wasn't either. I mean, in real time, I didn't catch it. I was there. I was probably in line at the concession stand.
Who knows? But yeah, we do know at this point that Crixus has been evaluated. He went to He went and got a scan.
Oh, did he?
Yes.
Okay.
We don't know precisely what's going on. We do know I can tell you it's not the same shoulder that it was the last time.
That was my next question.
Yeah, it's not a re-injury of the old injury. It is whatever it is. It's something else. And I've already seen OVW releasing that Doug will be addressing it on Thursday.
In third person.
Perhaps in third person.
Probably.
Tiny Brian would not be surprised if Doug Basham talked about it in
Neither
third
would
person.
Behinds. Behinds would not be one tiny bit surprised if that announcement came in third person.
And then at the end of this match, there was even more Doug talking to the camera, preening before the audience.
Making people leave through the side door.
Yeah, Doug is, he's enjoying his ability to just take the mic whenever he wants.
Yep.
He is reveling in it, I believe you could say.
He most certainly is.
All right, so what a night, really.
Yeah, we are through the looking glass as far as this Revolution thing goes, and I have no idea what to expect from here on out. We're a year in on this, and I believe that the script has been flipped.
No kidding. And at this point, we don't know anything about a new pay-per-view. We assume one of those is coming at some point soon.
I would imagine so. They're usually on a 4 to 6 week schedule, which would put one around Halloween.
Yeah, it should be time for what is the Halloween show
It's
they do?
the Nightmare Tag Team thing.
That's certainly that. But what did they call it last year?
I can't remember.
Halloween
I was
Hornets.
dressed up like Captain Lou, and I was having the time of my life. So I
You
can't remember
sure
what it was
were
called.
dressed up as Captain Lou.
And I don't care if anybody didn't recognize me. Like
Al figured it out.
I had to give him a little help. I mean, I brought the LJN with me and
You
did
sure
the
did.
pose.
And yeah, we have that video.
Did we?
Yeah, of you and Al. There's several places where, in fact, the two of you and Al should be in the main titles for Fan Zone Live.
Huh. Well, I knew that, but I think I'm wearing a Christmas tree hat in that one or something.
I meant to put the one with the Captain Lou from Halloween. I may have put the wrong one.
I'll have to go back through my phone and see whether I've got pictures of that because
I know I do, so I can get those together.
all I remember is I was nervous because that was the first time I actually met and spoke to Al Snow.
Yeah,
And
what a year.
Yeah, I was dressed as a previous wrestling personality, and I figured that it would go over pretty well with the wrestling crowd, but it also needs to be the over 45 or 50 crowd.
Yeah, the kids don't know who Captain Lou is.
And that's a shame.
It really is.
Yeah.
All right, well, I think we've said about everything there is to say about this episode.
I believe we have.
Jackman, we miss you.
Yes.
Feel better?
Yes.
We'll be back on Wednesday for Fan Zone Live.
That's where fans talk back, by the way.
That is where fans talk back.
And that is on the OVW YouTube page.
Yep, you can find that at OVW.com or at YouTube.com /@OVWTV. And we'll be back here next week to talk about Rise after we watch it.
Mm-hmm.
Very exciting. So, I'll tell you what. Why don't I take us out of here?
Oh, yay.
The OVW podcast, the 10th Carney Award-nominated unofficial podcast of Ohio Valley Wrestling, is produced by Blacklight Moon Productions at Nut House Studios in Lexington, Kentucky. The OVW podcast broadcast team is Jackman Oates and Brian Hines. Our studio engineer and editor is Malachi Woodard. Executive producer is Tiny Brian K. Woodard. That's me. Senior producer for The Blimp is Victor Anderson, who is still in Chicago, and I'm not at all jealous about it. On Wednesday night, catch OVW podcast team as we host OVW Fan Zone Live, the OVW fan talk show where fans talk back. After watching wrestlers on Netflix, visit OVWpodcast.com/podcasters to find all episodes of our unofficial Wrestlers After Show. Be sure to subscribe where you get your podcast, rate us 5 stars, give us a review. Subscribe on YouTube as well. You can also follow us at OVW Podcast on Instagram, X, Facebook, TikTok, Threads, and all the way to a newly cool Hot Point,
Davis Arena.
Love you.
Love you guys.